She stood frozen in the rain, her trembling fingers clutching a crumpled, torn pregnancy test. The man she loved, the man who had married her under a no-touch contract, stood just a few feet away, his cold eyes refusing to meet hers. "This wasn't part of the agreement," he said. Her heart broke before she could even speak. 6 years later, fate brought them face to face again, but this time, she wasn't alone. The night their contract was signed, the air in the lawyer's office felt heavier than the silence between them. Adil Khan, the only heir of Khan Enterprises, was marrying out of duty, not desire. He sat across from her, Alina, calm, emotionless, and distant. She wasn't marrying him for money, she was marrying him because she had no choice. Her dying father's last wish was to see his only daughter settled, and Adil was the only man willing to help, with one condition, a no-touch marriage. No expectations, no intimacy, no love, just a year, he'd said, eyes fixed on the contract, not her. Alina had nodded quietly, her heart aching but grateful for the security he was offering her father. She told herself she could handle it. After all, love was never part of the deal. But what she didn't expect was how lonely that kind of marriage could feel. The mansion she moved into was vast and beautiful, but empty, like the man she'd married. Adil was kind in a distant way, polite in conversation, and respectful, but there was a wall between them she couldn't cross. Every night she would see him reading alone in the study, a cup of black coffee beside him, the soft light outlining his sharp, unreadable face. She wanted to know him, to reach him, but every time she tried, he'd remind her with a quiet sentence, "Don't make this harder for both of us." Weeks turned into months. The loneliness pressed down on her chest until it felt unbearable. Yet somewhere in the quiet, she began to notice cracks in Adil's armor, the way he lingered by her door when she cried, the small kindnesses like the shawl he left on the couch when she fell asleep there, or how he once drove all night to fetch her favorite medicine when she was sick. He never said much, but his silence was filled with words he couldn't admit. And then came the night that changed everything. It had been raining heavily, the power had gone out, and she was trapped outside when her car broke down. Adil came for her, drenched and furious, but the way he wrapped his coat around her shoulders told a different story. When he finally held her close, it wasn't out of desire, it was fear. Fear of losing her. That night, the line between contract and connection blurred, and for the first time, Adil held her like she mattered. A month later, she found herself in the bathroom, holding a pregnancy test, positive. Her hands trembled as tears fell down her cheeks. She didn't know if she was ready to tell him, but part of her believed that maybe, just maybe, he'd be happy. But fate was cruel. When she finally gathered courage and showed him, he looked at her as if she betrayed him. "This wasn't supposed to happen," he whispered. She looked at him, shattered. "It wasn't supposed to happen. Or you didn't want it to." He didn't answer. His silence screamed louder than words. The test slipped from her hand, tearing as it hit the floor. That was the night she left, without looking back, without telling him that the test was only faintly positive, and she wasn't even sure. She walked away in the rain, her heart breaking with every step. 6 years later, Adil stood outside a small school, watching a little boy with bright eyes and a dimpled smile help a girl tie her shoelaces. He didn't know why he felt drawn to the boy, until the child's mother walked out of the school building. Alina. His world stopped. She looked different now, stronger, calmer, but those eyes, those were the same eyes that had haunted him every night since she left. She froze too, the color draining from her face as she saw him. The little boy ran to her. "Mama, look, I helped Zara tie her shoes." Her voice trembled slightly. "That's great, Ahmed." The name echoed in Adil's head. The boy turned to him, curiosity shining in his eyes. "Are you my teacher's friend?" Adil's lips parted, but no words came. He looked at Alina, silently asking the question that burned through his chest. She looked away, her hand tightening on her son's shoulder. "We should go." That night, Adil couldn't sleep. He'd spent years burying himself in work, trying to forget the woman he'd let go. But seeing her again, and that boy, shattered every wall he had built. He needed answers. The next day, he found her outside her small art studio. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked quietly. She froze. "Tell you what? That you didn't want a family? That you made me feel like a mistake?" He stepped closer, his voice breaking. "That I was afraid. I didn't know how to love someone, Alina. I didn't even know how to love myself back then." Tears filled her eyes. And now, what's changed? He took a deep breath. Everything. I lost everything that mattered when you walked away. And if that boy, if he's mine, I want to be the father he deserves. Her lips trembled. And if he isn't, he smiled sadly, then I still want to be in his life. Because he's yours. That was the moment she broke down, her heart finally letting go of years of pain. She told him the truth. She had miscarried weeks after leaving, the stress and heartbreak too heavy for her to bear. The boy wasn't his by blood, she had adopted him when she moved away. But he had filled the emptiness Adil left behind. Adil's eyes softened with tears. Then maybe, we both got a second chance. She looked at him, her voice trembling. You think we can ever start over? He nodded, his voice low. Only if we do it without contracts this time. And in that moment, under the same rain that once tore them apart, Alina let him hold her again, not out of obligation, not out of pity, but love. Because sometimes, the people meant for you will find their way back, no matter how far the road leads, not to repeat the past, but to rewrite it.